My name is Pablo Correa. Excuse me.
Take your time. It's not easy.
September 10th of this year, I pleaded with the warden, the deputy warden at Cheshire Correctional, because my son was a single cell status inmate who was sentenced to life plus 105. And because of me, he was supposed to be a single cell status inmate. He put in a grievance against an officer, and they sent him to SEG for 3 days, whereupon they put an inmate in his cell, known gang member, known sex offender. My son came back from RHU, and he was given some kind of K2, a synthetic drug that's been going around in Cheshire, which inebriated him. His cellmate took advantage of him. He was a victim of PREA. If you don't know what that means, it means Prison Rape Elimination Act. After finding out what this inmate done to him, he got into an altercation with this inmate. Officers responded. An officer took a victim of sexual assault, slammed him to the ground, punched him in the face, came over the radio to another officer who he had placed a grievance against and said, "It is done." Instead of taking him and sending him to John Dempsey for a rape kit, they took him to the infirmary, had him bend over on his knees to take pictures of his rectal area, which is another violation of PREA. Okay? Then they took him to the RHU, where they refused, RHU is just a restricted housing unit, where they refused him medical attention, mental health attention, and he began to harm himself to the point where he tried to hang himself, he tried to cut himself, then he ate a foam tray to get medical attention where they shipped him out to John Dempsey Hospital. Not only did they do that, but they shipped him off after he came back from John Dempsey. Instead of putting him in a single cell, like the deputy warden said he was going to do, they shipped him off to a jail, Corrigan Rogowski. Now, my son is already sentenced. And this is the text that I got from my son. Dad, if something happens in here, know that I will fight to the death. But make sure that the lawyers know that in Cheshire, the problem was with deputy warden, known as Intel, working with Crips, selling K2, falsifying K2 reports on people other than who they were working with, sending hits through the gangs and the other units. They got me in a unit with at least 10 Crips. They were just shipped here, and I noticed they were from Cheshire. My son has been a victim multiple times in this incident. And this is within a few weeks. It began when his cell was raided while he was on the toilet. He was urine tested, came back negative. And then once he put in the grievance, the ball began to roll. He was targeted. And he still, now, all his phone calls have been stopped. He can't text me. I haven't heard from him in 2 weeks. I have emails to the deputy warden. I have emails to the warden of Corrigan to find out how my son is doing. And I have gotten nothing. Nothing. I am glad to have talked and have met the new ombudsman. Ms. Barber, thank you for allowing me to talk here. This is not first. The intel units and the security divisions within the correctional facilities are the most corrupt individuals within the state. I've been there, I've seen it, witnessed it, and now I'm a victim of it with my child. So if things can be taken and corrected, I fear for my son's life at this point. I really do. I really, really do. He's not supposed to have an inmate in a cell with him. He was supposed to be single cell status. And out of maliciousness, they put an inmate in his cell, knowing what the consequences of that was going to be. I thank you for your time, and I apologize.